Hello everybody and welcome to Channeled Ascension Messages. My name is Bobbie Richardson. I'll be your guide for today. I also have a website. My website is www.codes-to-a-new-reality. All the links are down below. I'm an intuitive counsellor as well. So if you want to book an intuitive counselling with me, I can tap into your soul, your connections to higher vibrations. I can see where your blockages are and help guide you through whatever you're going through physically or mentally or etherically, spiritually. I am someone who always has the intention to guide you on a path to your highest potential. So that's a little bit about me. I have been contacted by beings pretty much all my life until about 4 years ago, where they stopped coming to see me, and now I just get channeled messages, a lot of channeled messages. So this is where all these channel messages are coming from. For about 40 years of visitations, and I'm talking, I can see them and experience them with my own sight, hearing, everything, not something that's just in my mind. Anyway, this also is my artwork too, that's behind me. I wanted to bring forth a feeling of a porthole with this artwork. It was actually created for a film I wanted to create, a kind of a film theatre production I wanted to create called Shayla. It's of a girl that's going from this reality and lifting her vibration enough by clearing all of her stuff and then walking into this beautiful new world, which I've been taken to over the many years by these beings that have interacted with me. So I'll just duck and let you see the whole thing. Yeah, so I love this picture. It makes me feel really good. Anyway, okay, let's get into these channeled messages. These channeled messages were channeled from the 29th to now. Most of them were done on the 29th of August, to tell you the truth. It just went crazy for me on the 29th. So I've actually channeled through Pleiadian Messages, which is more on a love vibration, connecting us to our soul, and the Arcturians, which is more on the wisdom, the intellectual side of things. You'll understand when you actually hear the messages. I'm going to start off with the messages that I got from the Pleiadians on the 29th of August 21. I'll just get my glasses on. Our struggles are showing us a path to more and more love and acceptance, because they will repeat until one says enough, and beyond that is where love exists. So that was on the 29th of August. Another one on the 29th of August is it is only our fear of being denied an abundant future that creates the illusion of clinging to something, someone, or a feeling, which then is in this clinging blocks the path for abundance. Because abundance is the faith of knowing one's worth in the cosmos of reality, that one will always be granted as much as one seeks when the seeking comes from love. Fear of not having enough brings you into the illusional reality of relying on another's hand to give you handouts. This is how others can control you. So one thing I want to point out here is that what's happened over the last thousands of years, because we're disconnected from our spiritual soul side of ourselves, our right brain, our imaginative, intuitive side, that actually used to lead us from our soul's perspective into abundance all the time. We didn't need to carry anything. We didn't need to cling to anything or hoard anything, because we always knew that whatever we needed would be gifted to us. It was the universe was always going to be responding to us, because we're coming from that place of self-love and self-worth. But what's happened is with this fall, and we were leading from our left logical side of ourselves into this physical plane of material and abundance and the fact of materialism. We had felt we had to carry everything on our backs, and this ended up bringing us into the hoarding kind of a reality where one was always concerned and worried about how much they had and how much somebody else had, and oh, you've got more than me, that sort of feeling or vibration. One thing I want to point out here, sorry, I just had to get this. When I was over in Mexico, I was guided to pick up this disc and bring it home, to buy it and bring it home. And I realize now what it really means. So here we are with, it's very hard with the reflection. I'll try to tip it to a way that you can actually see it. See in the center, the man, this is what we've come through. This is the last thousands of years from the Mayan's perspective. He's carrying something on his back and it's just weighing him down, and he's feeling terrible. Honestly, what I see on his back is a computer. I see the square box, it's got a face on it. Could be a TV, but it looks like a computer because it's got that little keyboard and like a little mouse there on the side. So, really burdened by some outside force controlling him. So this is what we're stepping out of and into abundance, really, in reflection of what we actually feel about ourselves again, through knowing that we are love from our soul's perspective, because our soul will only lead us back to love. Okay, on the 29th also of August, another message from the Pleiadians. It's all about how you feel about you, nothing more than that. Once everyone feels good about themselves, they will lose all judgments on how others choose to live their reality. Thus, the birth of a whole new world will happen, one where people choose what makes them happy because they take responsibility for who they are and how they interact with their environment. One where they trust others are in this higher vibration with them because they too are trusting their own path, and that path is leading them to more and more happiness. So all judgment starts to cease to exist once you're in that vibration and realizing the people that are with you are those people in that vibration as well. At the moment, we're dipping in and out. Even from my own point of view, we're like dipping in and out. We have days where we feel good about ourselves, and in those days, your interaction with other people will be of those that are smiling and happy and feeling good about themselves. And then you dip into the self-doubt, self-loathing, feeling like you've done something wrong or that you might be taken wrong or something like that. And then that dips again back into showing you that there's people out there that are also in that vibration and they're not feeling good about themselves, and the arguments start happening around you and stuff like that. So just be aware of where you are vibrationally, be very honest with yourself, and then respect what's happening outside yourself. Okay, so that was the channel messages from the Pleiadians. I also have one more really big one, but that came later, and it was to do more with our connection with spirit and spiritual beings on Earth itself. I will bring that up in a minute, though. I want to go through the Arcturian one, which was also gifted to me on the 29th of August as well. Really busy day that day. And this is actually called DNA and Relationships, Creating New Worlds. Now this channel message, not everyone's going to understand this, but I'm just going to read it out as they gave it to me so you can get a bearing of or a feeling of where it's coming from your own understanding. A relationship is like two strands of the DNA. If one takes over more than the other or tries to control the other, the strand wobbles and eventually becomes sick, as DNA is the essence of love in physical form. as it becomes the whole oneness of its own creation, as the essence of creation is love. The unity of two becoming one out of an openness and longing to create as one. When one enters into a sacred bond or relationship with another, they merge their realities as two circles join. So it's like this, because there were two circles. The inner joining is a stability of the new vibration or frequency that happens when two creations merge. So that bit in the center, that little bit there, that would be where the two merge, and that's their agreements that they have between each other of what reality is for each of them. Eventually, the form of these pure and balanced unities create the flower of life itself, and with that, the ability to manifest worlds. So you get two people that are doing this, then you get another two and another two, and then eventually they form groups. And when they form groups, the pattern emerges will be that flower of life. If anyone's seen the flower of life, I'll see if I can find a picture of it to show you in this video. That flower of life is the ability to start creating, manifesting worlds. So when we get enough people in the same vibration, they don't have to be exactly the same, remember, because it's only that point that they are agreeing on that joins them, that creates this stable, unified field it's a unified field of acceptance of reality itself. So when people come together like that, they will have a mergence of, and not all of them are going to be merged, because you're going to have people on the outside of the circle that are merged with others. But when they talk to each other, if they talk to each other, they'll go, I don't even understand you at all. But it's in the acceptance that in their non-understanding of each other, the acceptance of them not understanding each other, but to know that they were necessary for the whole to create this another new world. In that acceptance of that whole, they allow the flower of life to even exist. So then there's no judgment as well, just like the Pleiadians were bringing up before. There's only acceptance of that everybody is living the happiest that they can, and there is this mergence of connection through different people's realities overlapping. Yeah, so that's what they're giving me at the moment while I'm reading this. If the relationship is forced, as many on earth at the moment are, due to their individual not finding the essence of love or love of self first, the unions and relationships are like wobbly DNA strands which are easily controlled due to their feeling of a lack of control within themselves. Forever searching that lack of love in another instead of finding it within themselves. This is why it's so important at the moment for light workers to find self-love, so that they will hold a healthy human love vibration where one merges but still stays whole within themselves as that part of the circle that hasn't merged with another. So see that other bit there? That's you in your authentic self. And it doesn't necessarily have to agree with the other person's circle either. But there's emergence when two relationships come together. So they're really saying that even within a partnership, even within a love, absolutely heartfelt partnership where you live together forever and everything, you're never going to have everything you're never going to have everything agreeing with each other on their reality, because if you did, it becomes one circle, and if it becomes one circle, it's one person, it's one soul only again. it is within the split that we become more. It's kind of like you see an egg that's been, fertilized by semen, and then that egg will split and split and split and split to create a hand and a foot. Well, the hand won't probably never understand. If the hand had a mind, it would probably never understand the foot, and vice versa. But each is needed to do different things in this reality, to be individual in itself, to create the whole being. And that's what creation is all about. It's not necessarily agreeing with everything that everyone says. And I think we've got it in our reality where we're almost fixated as a spiritual person to think that someone has to be agreeing 100,000% with the other person. And if you don't agree then in anything, in something, then you're not worthy to be in their reality. So yeah, like I said before, this is so important for light workers to find self-love so that they can hold a healthy human love vibration, one where one merges but still stays whole within themselves as part of the circle that hasn't merged with another, where two become more and a new reality on earth is birthed through this unified, balanced love. Yes, that was a really beautiful and interesting message from the Arcturians. See, I kind of feel sometimes when I'm channeling these messages, I almost get two people coming through too. It's kind of like a vibration of Arcturian, and then the Pleiadians will step in, and then the Arcturians will step in. And sometimes I have this merging that happens because they are collected in their vibrations but have their separateness as well. So like when they channel through me, it's like discussions happening as well. It's really interesting. Okay, so on the 30th of August 21, a totally different channeled message. This is on the etherical beings residing on earth, so another vibration that is on earth. Okay. And this is what this message said. There is another world that resides on earth within the higher frequencies. Humanity used to be able to communicate with these beings eons ago. Many are what others would call the elementals or fae. Others are of human size and bigger. They are the spiritual side of us that the veil of illusion stopped us from interacting with and seeing. Many tribes escaped. This is, when thousands of years ago, when we slowly slipped into that left logical side, physical side of ourselves to learn from that. Many tribes escaped wars and bloodshed by following their shamans who connected with these etherical beings and shifted their reality to merge with theirs through self-love. Quantum physics has proven this to be of some substance through the findings of a particle vibrating so high or fast that it disappears from their reality only to reappear later. The only way humanity can move in and out of this is to stop with the fear game and focus on the love game. The elementals and phase that reside there are in harmony with themselves and are the go-between for earth and humanity, as their wisdom is within the plants and the elements of earth. But the fables and twisted stories are of those fae that were caught in between the physical and etherical realms of earth, losing their way, became mischievous as they tried to connect to humanity, only to be met with no communication at all due to the veil of limitation pulled over the eyes of humanity. This happened thousands of years ago, and since then, humanity in this limited fear state only interacted with the physical plane, forgetting all interactions with etherical connections. As for the human-sized etherical beings that reside in this other dimension, many of them show themselves in this limited world as what the Australians would call min lights, or spherical spheres of lights. Some of them throughout the world too have been seen as angels or extraterrestrials, as they come in and out of this reality and their vibration. This isn't, and they usually came through to gift information, to awaken people, to try to keep that link just even slightly open for humanity. This isn't to say that angels and extraterrestrials don't exist, but this is to point out that some of them were actual beings that resided on Earth in a higher or faster frequency or vibration, that of love. So the more we as a race connect back through our hearts to our souls, we will come more and more in contact with these beautiful beings who are willing to help guide us in the new frequencies on Earth by using portholes within ourselves and our pineal glands and our connection to balance within ourselves through self-love, and on Earth's surface, which are portholes on actual Gaia herself, where frequencies of love have been held for eons and kept in secret caves. You know, a lot of the ones that we see that were portholes that are on the surface that people have interacted with, say through the Mayan temples or other temples or gateways of massive buildings and doors of stone and stuff like that, many of them, the vibration has been lost through, you know, that interaction of human fear that's gone there, and self-doubt and not believing. But there are many other portholes within the earth, they're telling me now, that are secretly in secret caves, and haven't been found yet, but will be found or sorted after by specific people, specific souls that came here specifically to connect to those portholes, because they actually entered through those portholes as a soul to be born again on this earth plane through another human, learn lessons, then reconnect back to that so that they can help humanity go into those secret caves and secret places that they find in forests as well. They're showing me forest seas, actually all over Earth. There are all these different placements that have been reawoken again. Gaia herself, as she's lifted her vibration through the love of herself, she's starting to connect as well to open up those portholes to connect back to humanity as well, specifically to communicate with humanity, because all other vibrations on Earth, all the animals, they're already in their own authentic self, their own love, their own authentic who they are, true to themselves. But humanity is the one that lost their connection, and they have a higher perspective and consciousness of themselves. So within their highest perspective and consciousness, when they gain back their soul connection, become even more and more and more aware. They have more awareness. So as Gaia herself, Earth herself, starts to awaken, so does humanity, because humanity are representations of Earth, Gaia's neuron paths and connections of higher awareness for her. So it all goes symbiotically. Okay, they're giving me a word that I don't even know. Symbiotic. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You can kind of look it up. I'm sure someone's going to know what I'm trying to say. That it all goes together, like it all happens as one. Together, as one awakens, so does the other, is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, they're my channel messages. Now I'm just going to quickly go over the energy update that's happening right in this moment, and what they're really showing me right now is the energy moment is self-love, and you could see it through all those channeled messages anyway. Supporting oneself in like who you are and where you can go. They're really pushing this. So people would have gone, especially the ones that are awakening, the ones that are going through this huge shift, very quick, fast shift at the moment. They might be connecting with different people that are really pushing their boundaries, and then they just go, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. And when they leave, they see where they lacked their own self-support, and then they say to yourself, oh my God, I gifted my energy to that person through this. Now when they start taking this back and giving it to themselves, and saying to themselves, I do love myself, I don't need to give my power away, I can accept things, I am worthy of things, I don't need to be in a relationship that's unequal and unbalanced. There is a balance that you give to yourself of self-support and self-love. The more you do that, the more you realize that you're giving it to yourself, the more you stop looking for that lack of in a partnership or somebody else, the less that DNA wobble that I was talking about, the spiral that the DNA has. If you can imagine one spiral whipping in and out, trying to control this other little spiral that's going up, it's not going to. But when there's a balance, when there's a perfect balance, there's this vibration that happens that's of unity. So self-support is the biggest thing. If you've gone through tower moments, if you've gone through some problems, now is the time to look at where you lacked first, to bring that to you, and then use that as self-support, use that to gift to yourself. If, for instance, you're in a relationship that you were giving heaps to somebody else, look at why you were giving heaps to somebody else. What was you lacking that you needed to feel like you had to control the other person by giving, have that control? Were you in a victim scenario within yourself? If you don't give to somebody, then you don't feel worthy. Same with receiving. You might have been in a relationship where you weren't receiving much, you kept blocking that. Where was it in yourself that you weren't allowing the flow of receiving? Was it making you feel uncomfortable because you didn't feel like you had any control, that your self-worth was coming down on yourself because you couldn't do it yourself, or that sort of stuff? So really look at where you're lacking in your relationship, or the relationship that failed, and gift that back to yourself, because that's what's going to really propel you into love and finding the people in your life that reflect that. So I'll leave it there. Goodbye till next time.